Hello, everyone. Hopefully, some of us can join today. This is very impromptu. Excuse the lack of light. I didn't plan on going live today. I just wanted us to come together and have a conversation about the too little, in my opinion, too late actions of the British monarchy addressing the Prince Andrew, the matter of Pedro, as I call him. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get the lighting up. It's very dark in here. Can you see me? Let me see. Let me try something. Does that help? Maybe. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Mfoneka. I hope everybody is doing okay. What's up? Hi, Patrick. Just alive to talk about the latest shenanigans of the clowns in the British royal family and how they continue to avoid accountability. Now they're trying to play in everybody's faces with this nonsense. I'm trying to get some more people on live. We have a lot to talk about. I just ate something I really shouldn't have. We have a lot to talk about, guys. Shocking news. Hola. Hello, Brenda. Now, Andrews, why would anybody be, why would anybody be a fan of Pedro? Hi, Avatar darling. How are you? Thank you for joining. How's it going? I know that Bunny will do a live, but I just felt let me quickly do one because I don't know if I can attend the Bunny one. I'm exhausted. Shocking allegations, yes. Shocking. Multiple women get sexually assaulted by a man, and the only thing his victims can hope for is this dry ass apology. Oh, sorry. Apologizing means that he would have to acknowledge that he committed the crime. Is him continuing to deny allegations despite paying £12 million, despite there being pictures of him with with one of the victims that we know of, despite there being emails that he sent to Epstein, a convicted pedophile, after he said he had nothing to do with Epstein, despite there being pictures of Andrew staying in Epstein's house and his wife owing Epstein money or begging Epstein for money. Despite all that, he continues to deny allegations. Anybody with a fifth, guys, a fifth of the allegations and this much evidence will be sitting in the police station right now trying to explain themselves. But for Andrew, whose biggest accomplishment is the mistake of being born the king's or the queen's son, is about to get no consequences for his actions. Yeah, well, at least that's what they announced to the BBC. Now, from what I've been made to understand, and that's a very good question, Avatar. What I've been made to understand is it's not an easy process. That's why when Billy Idol and his fans are deluding themselves that he's going to strip Harry of his title, I laugh to myself. I've been saying this from the beginning. Nobody is going to listen to William because, like, how you, at least with this particular strippage, And don't forget, guys, things had to get this bad before it could even be entertained. What is William's excuse going to be? I want to take, and don't forget this has, I don't think has this ever happened recently. I don't think so. So let's give Charles another max 5 years. If the cancer is as serious as they are saying it is, the world is still reeling from this horrible scandal. Then you now have William, who ascends power for absolutely no reason, because guys, don't get it twisted. Harry is still the most popular prince in the UK. You want to go after the people's prince. Why? What will be his reason? And don't forget, William, and I'm going to talk about it quickly. There is a guy, I think he's one of these right wing, I don't know if he's right wing, I am assuming. He has this article in the New Statesman, and he did a very good podcast I was going to react to before this news came out, where he talks about ending the monarchy, and he's actually making a case for them to just gracefully abdicate. And when he starts talking about William, guys, what he says is he more or less calls William a moron. He said William is not known to be any great scholar. He more or less says William doesn't have any great achievements. He's not known for being intellectual. William is not a Christian. And according to British monarchy, the general theme since the beginning of time is they are ordained by God to sit above us all. So how does that reconcile with the British monarchy, or the God-given right of the British monarchy? Again, a sign that William did not think this through. He was just trying to be, a bro. He was trying to be a millennial. He was trying to relate to you poors. And because him and his idiots told him that, do you know that nowadays people aren't really Christians? He thought that would be a good thing to make me relatable. Not realizing that, wait, in the grand scheme of things, the only reason why the uneducated masses used to tolerate the kings and the monarchy was this idea of religious superiority. Now, if the future king is now going to come and tell everybody that he's not actually a Christian, he doesn't believe in this, the question now becomes, so you're just a normal guy whose claim to fame is hereditary wealth, which was gathered through exploitation and theft. So in his bid to humanize himself, he's making people ask questions. So why are we listening to you then? That's a very good podcast. I would highly recommend. I'll do it. I'll do a post and link you guys to it. I highly recommend you listen to it. And if you can read the New Statesman article, please feel free to do so as well. Because it's so nice to see a British man, a white English man, sit down and carefully articulate the argument of republicanism. And trust me, William is not the king that will make people change their mind. Charles, I think people still have some holdover feelings from Queen Elizabeth. But William, nah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Well, let me bring it back to Andrew. Andrew is now going to be Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So, the Germans, don't forget that the Windsors are not English. These are German royals who changed their name because of the Second World War. Or I think it was the First or Second World War. So the German royals continue to live at their pleasure of the taxpayer. What do you think about that, Brits? I've not even spoken about Virginia Giuffre. Her book, I'm not finished it. I'm finishing it tomorrow when I go for my hike. This has been a rough week for me. I've not had a chance. And I don't like listening to that book when I'm working. It's very heavy. It's not good for my mental health to listen to her when I'm working. It really hurts my soul. Yeah, boss. I know, Avatar. I saw it. They are saying that this is William's doing. even though Buckingham Palace came out to clearly say, actually, no, William does not have any authority to force anybody. Like, do you guys remember when William released that article to say that Andrew is being forced out of Royal Lodge because he threatened his cousin's title? That Buckingham Palace stepped in and said, absolutely fucking not. Sorry, excuse me, absolutely freaking not. William does not have that. I love how they made it clear. William does not have that authority. Again, Billy Idol is trying to undermine his father. They told the whole world that, yeah, ignore that mess. You don't have the authority. The whole thing is a joke. Sorry, I have some chicken. The whole thing is a joke, guys. For people that are wondering, why wouldn't you let this go? He's giving up his titles. I want you to think about those women who were sexually trafficked. I tell people that if you want to understand, I'm a big believer on, if somebody writes a book and tells their life story, especially if it is autobiographical, and I am speaking on their behalf, I'm going to read that book first. Virginia Giuffre went through a very painful, deeply painful life. I think the only thing that gave her any real love and joy was her abusive husband when they first started, and her children. That book and everything she's doing was because of her daughter. Her daughter who will not get to grow up with a mom. Now, am I solely blaming Prince Andrew? No. Virginia Giuffre was assaulted by her father. Sorry, guys. Virginia Giuffre was assaulted by her dad. She was assaulted by the reform school that she was sent to. She was assaulted by men on the streets. She was assaulted by a man who specifically went after her because he saw she looked young. She was assaulted by Epstein, and she was assaulted by Ghislaine Maxwell, and God knows who else. Sorry, my phone tripped from the stand. Virginia Giuffre deserves her day in court. Yes, they gave her an untold amount of money. It doesn't take away the fact that that woman is dead now, and her children will not get to know her. The best she can do through her family is to keep her legacy alive. And that's why I got very irritated, because even her family members were saying, oh, how can he keep his titles? And I'm like, why are all of you so carried away with these bloody titles? The titles mean nothing. All this performance, all this theater, it doesn't matter. The point is, a network of child sexual abuse was allowed to foster, in many cases helped by Prince Andrew, and he gets to get away with it because he is Prince Andrew. And we as a society need to ask ourselves why we are allowing this to happen. Stripping him of his titles on his own terms. How is that justice? 12 million or so has already been paid. Whether she died by suicide or she died by insidious means, she's not here to raise her kids. And that woman had the courage to do something a lot of people can't do. Go up against very powerful people who try to discredit her, who try to humiliate her, who try to kill her, threaten her family. Epstein even tried to get her to carry his child. Him and Ghislaine. And Epstein should never have existed. In this world where we glorify where we place powerful people on a pedestal and give them a blank check to literally do what they like. We need to start checking their power. We need to start holding people accountable. This is not it. I'm sorry. It's not okay. It's not okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you, Red Heart. The one thing about me is I don't give a shit. And for people that are telling me, oh, you're not British, what authority do you have? Actually, I am one. I am Nigerian. I pay taxes in this country. And by the very fact that Nigeria was under UK colonial rule and they sold the BS to my parents and told them that they should be grateful to be under colonial rule, I think I get a C. Every country under the Commonwealth, since they love clinging to the Commonwealth, every country that was ever colonized by the British monarchy gets to get a C. Sorry, Brits. If they didn't want us getting involved in their matter, they shouldn't have come a knocking in Nigeria. It's on BBC Avatar. A girl was raped. BBC is it's on Avatar. If you go to BBC, it's there. I want to remind everybody, and I'll keep on saying it for as long as I go through this live. A young woman was raped. A young woman was raped. And in her book, she talks about three instances she met Andrew. And the third time she met Andrew, 8 girls participated. Not one was above the age of consent. I think Virginia said she's not really sure, but she thinks the third encounter she had with Andrew, she was straddling 17 and 18. For clarity, there are pictures of Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell in costume at the Royal Lodge celebrating I think it's Eugenie's 18th birthday. So let me put it for context for many of you. Andrew was having sex with girls that were his daughter's age. And he said so. If you read Virginia's book, it's there. Because she asked him, that how old do I look to you? And he was giggling to himself when he said, you look about my daughter's age. 17. He knew what he was doing. Then he tried to play in our faces and say that Virginia Giuffre and him, that picture is fake. Realistic Photoshop pictures did not start until well after the I think it was maybe entering 2020s. So what technology will Virginia Giuffre have had in the, was it late 90s that she took that picture to Photoshop him of all people? Of all the people she could have used, of all the people in the world, with real power, not the second son of the queen of a dead empire. Do you know the billionaires that she came in contact with? Of all the people, hell, even Epstein she could have thrown in that picture. Is now you, Andrew. And don't forget, in the BBC interview, he said that he only went to Epstein's house after Epstein was convicted because he was his friend. And he thought that would be the noble thing to do. And that he never spoke to him ever again. And then we hear that there are emails that you sent after saying that you will hook up with him again so that two of you can play. Are you... Exactly. And I was reading this very painful book about what sexual assault does to people. It is violence against your body. You know how in my life I've been robbed before. Someone slapped me and stole my bag in Nigeria. Sorry, I had to go into my head for a bit. Stole my bag in Nigeria, and I was traumatized. That type of trauma, sometimes when something bad happens to you, people deal with trauma in different ways. And to me, it was light touch. They just slapped me and stole my bag. They didn't do anything else to me. Hi, Joyce. But that trauma made me scared to go in a particular direction, walking towards home at a particular time for a very long time. But I knew how to avoid that trauma and get on with my life. When somebody violates your body is the crime scene. You can't avoid your body. So you have to find a way to move on from that trauma. A lot of people don't. That's where the smooth side comes from. Virginia was not the only girl that killed herself. If you read Virginia's book, a lot of the girls that Epstein was knacking, these were foreign girls. They didn't speak English. Many of them may not even know how to come out. Or if they come out, people won't believe them. They weren't speaking English, guys. So they may not even know who the men that they were forced to have. Because again, men like Epstein like women who can't, what's the word I'm using? Who can't give a paper trail. If I don't know who's violating me, how am I going to go to court to come and call somebody's name? It's a very tragic affair. Virginia Giuffre didn't really have a chance. Assaulted from when she was very young by her father, carrying that trauma under the age of 10, then being forced to go into reform school because her mom didn't do what the mother should do to protect her. So Virginia started acting out. Also abused in reform school, escaping reform school because it was too harsh and brutal and abusive. While she was on the road, she was raped. And then she encountered a man who took her in specifically because he knew she was young. I don't even know if she was 14, 15 at that time. Her father exploited her. Her father got her into Mar-a-Lago. Her father knew about Epstein. He knew because he used to drive her to work. He knew about Epstein, but he probably didn't say anything because Virginia was getting paid. So imagine a woman, a child, a girl like that. The people that are supposed to be closest to you and protect you are not protecting you. In fact, they're even violating you and exploiting you. How wouldn't you be vulnerable? How would you know healthy boundaries? How to protect yourself? It's very sad. That's why I tell everybody before you say anything about Andrew, go and read that book. Hear from a victim because her story, as terrible as it is, all these girls that were young enough to be trafficked probably have similar or worse stories. And what governments, police, people around them should have done to protect them, they didn't because the world does not care when poor girls are brutalized. How many times in the news do you hear on a daily basis that a girl went missing, or a girl was beaten, or a girl was raped, or a girl was assaulted, or a girl was killed. Many a times these are young girls. Many a times these are from girls from poor homes. Their parents aren't rich, their parents aren't middle class, they are poor. So nobody's looking for them. And that's where men like Epstein come in. And the painful thing about this, guys, the British monarchy like to collect patronages like gold bullions. Oh, I'm the patron of sexual assault. I'm the patron of women's rights. I'm the patron of children. Kate has her early years program. Has Kate issued a statement? Camilla has a lot of patronages protecting for women and domestic abuse. She's literally the patron of domestic abuse. Has she said anything? All the royalists are kissing their ass. All of them will happily tell you what the British royal family, they're involved with this charity. They're involved. They really they do a lot of good for people. How many of them have issued statements? Has the British monarchy reached out in an olive branch to these victims, some of them, to say, come and sit with us, let's break bread, so that we can show you how sorry we are? And people are going to forget tomorrow. They're going to welcome them with warm arms to all these patronages because they want the press. And the British public is going to let them. Instead, you want to be fighting with Harry, who's trying to make it in this world as an independent person. Or other members of the royal family who have said, look, this is not for me. I'm trying to survive in this world the best way I can. Hi, Rebecca. Those are who they are going after. But a live action pedo who actually spent the majority of his life in luxury. Look, this title loss thing. How old is Andrew? 65? What the F is that going to do for a 65-year-old man? He's 65. He's already lived his life, enjoyed his luxury. And God knows, I'm pretty sure Andrew has money. All that criminality him and Fergie were doing, please. He has money offshore. The only reason I think Andrew is not traveling is probably because they won't let it. No, that's not it. I personally believe that if Andrew went to Dubai, no. I can't figure out why Andrew hasn't left the country, actually. You think he's broke, Bradford. I don't think he's broke, you know. Do you know how if you're on my channel, you saw that video of Fergie collecting cash now? They were doing this since the 90s. It's part of the reason why Charles has been protecting him. Why do you think Charles has been protecting him? Because they're all criminals. Andrew has enough information about Charles, William, and all these criminals to bury the royal family. That's why they moved him to Sandringham. Charles isn't doing shit. Charles is not doing anything. This thing they are doing to Harry is a necessary punishment for Harry, because Harry is thriving. It's a punishment to Harry because he is thriving. If Harry came back begging and crying, he would have his security back. Harry is coming back in dignity. He doesn't like that. Because the trap of the royal family is all this freedom you see everybody having is not for you. And if you want it, there's a price. That's why they don't educate them to be useful. Imagine somebody coming on a podcast, having researched into you and saying that you're not intellectual. You are about to be the future king. You're in your 40s. You are a father of 3 children. And somebody with no embarrassment is looking at you and saying you are not intellectual, you don't read. Basically, he's more or less calling William a dumbass. William is not bright. Because look at that guy, Jason North, right? Jason North, to me, is the crutch William was using Harry for. William is not bright. All William has heard in his life is you are the bestest best I ever bested. Not because of any talent you actually have, but because of an accident of birth. The king is going to be yours, Billy. It's yours. So Billy gets to enjoy all the benefits and do none of the work. That's why he's clinging so tightly to Jason North. He doesn't have the intellect to do the work. So he needs a man, or what do you call it? There's a word for this. He needs somebody that he can knock ideas off. And God knows it's not Kate. Goodness. Because as Billy is arrogant, is dumb, he's also arrogant. But I'll give Billy Prince William this. I've said it multiple times on my channel. William also gives off abused child, and I'll tell you why. Because of his mom dying, I believe that William has a lot of rage for his mother, and I believe that rage comes from. Don't forget that Diana was very young when she got married, and when she started acting out and this is something I believe, she was always talking to William. William got to watch her cry. William got to have her go through her meltdown. William basically got to experience her the way a firstborn normally would, with a parent who is not ready to be a parent. Firstborn children, unfortunately, especially with a mom that young. So when people say, "Oh, William is not very kind to his mother," I actually give him some grace, because a lot of people have kids and they're not ready. Well, Diana had very public breakdowns. I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying that she did, and because she didn't trust anybody and had no one, who is the next man in her life? Her son. Yes, I believe so, Avatar. And I don't blame him, frankly, when it comes to that part of it. Do I think he should have done the work? Yes. Because every time you hear about William, he's raging. What are you raging about? You don't work. You are the type of privilege you have, my brain cannot even fathom it. You can literally do you own the reins to a kingdom, inherited billions of pounds. Nobody is ever going to hold you accountable for a damn thing. When William was here, he was your punching bag, literally and in the media. Now Kate is your new punching bag. Because I have no doubt in my mind that it was William that was concerned about how dark Archie was going to be. Maybe William and Kate, but I believe he was too. Because notice how it was Kate. Nobody said it. When I heard it was Kate, I wasn't surprised. But I was baffled that nobody said a word about William. I was like, oh, okay, I see. So it's either one of two things. It was William that articulated it to Harry, but they threw Kate under the bus because, of course, they did. Or it was William and Kate. I'm choosing to believe it was William and Kate because of the way Kate treated Meghan. She can F off, frankly. So you have a spoiled brat who has been told all his life he is going to be king, who has never been held to any, the type of accountability all of us have to go through. William probably doesn't even know what that means. So he's angry because ultimately, despite all that privilege, all that protection, they've said that they believe that William does not want to be king. Not because he doesn't want the accolades of being king. Oh no. From all the leaking, you can tell that he's clearly very excited to finally get on that throne they've been beating into his head since he was a child. William doesn't want to do the work. That's why he doesn't read. Because if you cared about something, you will read, right? You will research. He doesn't even have to read. He could have had somebody to make coloring books for him. But he doesn't want that because he doesn't take this job seriously. Which is why I keep telling you guys that I'm very confident the monarchy will die under William. I've been telling you people since. And to be fair, William might actually be, it might be that he is that self-destructive, you know. Maybe that's what he wants. So those of you that are wondering, why am I bringing up William? Because we are in the age of Windsor. Yes? This is the age of Windsor. We had the Elizabethan age. Now we have the Windsor age, right? Charlie, the most useless age actually, because before Elizabeth you had what was it? Edwardian? Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know. Before that you had the Victorian age. Then you had the Elizabethan age, and now we have the Windsor, which is made up of pedophiles, incompetent, useless parents. Charles. So what's William's age going to be like? He's if now he's having all these anger issues despite doing fuck all, what is he going to do when he becomes king? And how does this apply to Andrew? Because I don't believe, I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't think Charles is long for this earth. I think Charles is going to die pretty soon. I'm not cursing him. I'm just saying if his cancer is as bad as the British press, yes, I know they lie. He's trying to tell us, then he might not be here for beyond 2 years. And what William is what 40? What was he 44? So he might be 50 or just about 50 before he becomes by the time he becomes king. So he's actually quite young compared to his father. Yes. So there's enough time and energy for him to cause it to do real damage. But the thing is, unlike Charles, that laid the groundwork for his reign, what exactly has William done to get us all excited about his upcoming reign? Fight with his sibling, leak news information to the press that he's going to terrorize his sibling when he becomes king, try to threaten his cousins, threaten his uncle, trying to tell everybody, guys, don't worry, when I get there, things are going to be different. But he can't articulate exactly what that difference is. There's something from that podcast I just mentioned, the New Statement, that I loved. He said something that I really liked. He said when he read Harry's book, which he actually said he really enjoyed, that he really liked Harry's book. He said there's something that Harry said, and he said for things to be the same, things have to change. I think he was paraphrasing from King Lear or something like that. I don't know. But it makes sense. If you want to keep the monarchy has to change. Because the monarchy of 1900 is not the monarchy of 2025. And somebody said something that I loved on Twitter. I didn't get her name and it really pisses me off. When the guy released the excerpt about William, calling him an anti-intellect, which is an insult, by the way. He said, and this Will Lloyd guy went on GMB News to argue with that liar Richard, what's his name, Fitzwilliams, the one that was tricked by pranksters on YouTube to lie about the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview. He said something that made me laugh, and I believe Will got it from the X chat. So Fitzwilliam was saying that the royal family have soft power. So the Will Lloyd guy came back and said, "Is the soft?" He now asked him, "What does soft power mean to you?" He was like, "No. Tell me what soft power means. Are you referring to when William and Kate went to the Caribbean in their Range Rover?" But I tell you, I laughed. I was laughing so hard I peed myself slightly because that was a fantastic comeback. And if they weren't going back and forth with each other, as he said it, he should have paused for dramatic effect. That was brilliantly said. I'm bringing that back to William. All of you remember the humiliating global disaster that was that Caribbean trip. And mind you, that was the last trip William and Kate have taken Have you noticed, guys? They've not been anywhere together abroad since. Because it was so humiliating that the Jamaican president told them, he didn't even let them enter the room finish. He was like, see, this rubbish is ending. In short, because of you people, I am going to speed up this country becoming a republic. Can you imagine that type of a greeting on your colonial tour? Would that have happened with somebody who reads? Somebody who is not listening to his aides. He's actually looking at people and paying. And don't forget, and this is how I know that William is going to be the kind of king I'm going to enjoy. Because he's that stupid. Don't forget, a few months ago, they have just had the Oprah interview. I think, what else happened? I don't know. I don't think Harry's book had come out. No, Harry's book wasn't out yet. They had just had, oh, no. They had just had the Oprah interview. So it was still quite fresh in people's minds. That was when people were doing a lot of performative DEI. George Floyd. And you see Prince William on a Range Rover cosplaying colonial in a black Caribbean country. Would this have happened with Harry? Let me not even bring Meghan. Let me use Harry. Harry would never have done that. Not even for a second. Even if they insisted, they'd be like, are you insane? You can't see the temperature of the room. And that's my point. This this would never have happened if William understood his history. I keep on telling people that I hope William continues to pay the British press dust. You know why? Because they get very petty when they are ignored. I'm hoping that one day one of them, out of their vex, releases the full pictures from that colonial party that William and Kate and Harry attended. That Harry got in trouble for wearing the Nazi, the swastika. The fact that even William had a colonial party tells you that William is a fool. True and through. You don't read. He doesn't know anything about I don't even think he understands. I think the only reason why you see William with black and brown people is following the backlash from the Caribbean. His team probably came to him and said, or maybe he was so humiliated, he said, look, we have to figure something out. But then you do that. You because he does it once a year. He cosplays with black people. He's already done. I think he's already done it this year. But you don't think about how you treated your first mixed race family member, about you being concerned about the darkness of your nephew William. I mean, and then when you put all these things together, the Windsor age that we're currently living through, just to me, exemplifies incompetence, racism, and the type of racism we really shouldn't be seeing at the juncture. Not from the royal family. And you're doing all these things. And you think you shouldn't abdicate. To me, all this shows is that you clearly don't want the job. If you don't want to do the job again, great. I don't give a shit. Abdicate. Bye for one. This is not okay. Yes. There's too much here. They are useless royals. People say that they help and keep everybody's energy nice and hot. No, they don't. It's like having, you know how you have one old piece of furniture in your house that is not adding any value, that is just really in your way. But the laziness to get rid of it, you're like, oh. before I get energy, before I move it outside, how am I going to dispose of it? That's what the British royal family is here because people are too tired. People just don't want to confront it. But I think the more this shenanigans keep on happening, people will start questioning why are they still here? They're already frustrated with Charles. What do you think is going to happen with William? William that barely does anything. And after William went outside telling everybody that, more or less undermining his dad, saying, when I become king, we'll strip Andrew of his titles. Oh yeah, the titles are gone. William, what's your next play? And I love how they said Buckingham Palace released the information. Look at the statement. It was very intentional. It was very clear that they wanted the world to know that Andrew handed over his title because Buckingham Palace made him hand over his title. It had nothing to do with William. William is not going to like that because he's been trying to steal thunder from this Andrew fallout. Not because he cares about the victims, mind you, but because he wants an opportunity to show, when I'm in charge. Again, we are already getting a taste. We are already getting a taste of what William's reign is going to be. Childish, reactionary, and a disaster. And personally, I hope he doesn't abdicate. I hope I get to live through it so I can drag him because I feel like I'll be very entertained by his shenanigans. And I also personally believe that people will call for his abdication. I believe he will do something. That's why on the internet, everybody was getting, all the derangers were getting excited that, oh wow, that when it's William's turn, they will strip Harry. I was like, I want him to do it. I've been looking for that thing that will finally kill this monarchy, and I think that might be that might be the kill shot, guys. You know what? I'm rooting for William. Attempt to strip Harry's titles, please. Please do it. Please do it for me. Do it for my content. I need it. I need it, Billy. Be that petty and try and take your brother's titles so that we can finally put an end to this monarchy. Because I really do think that the British press, you know how they've been going around telling everybody that wants to hear that Kate is the most popular royal on this island. Or they've been saying that Harry and Meghan are the least popular royals. I want William to try and strip Harry's title so that we can finally test that theory. I mean, we all know it's utter and complete nonsense. The videos speak for themselves. Every time Harry comes here, you can tell a celebrity is around. Everybody is excited. William has to bully people into coming to come and do photo ops for him. People love Harry. Harry was the most popular royal before he left, and he remains the most popular royal. I don't care how many emotional support polls they release. That's what I'm saying. I've been looking for drama. I've been looking for that thing that will finally get me to drag Billy Idol to the gods. That will be the thing that will finally set me off. That's why I was like, William, do it. Do it. Try and strip Harry's title. If that's stupid. I personally don't think they would even entertain it. Do you know why? Do you know why I think so? Because I really believe that brand Sussex and the British government are going to try. The British government, I believe the royal family is a firm. As it stands right now, the Windsors are toxic. I think what they're going to do is try and convince Charles to reconcile with Harry. Who wants to bet? From what I heard, I didn't report this roundly because it was just it was a rumor. But I believe that the British government have reached out to Harry, especially with Invictus coming. If they play their cards right, they can use Invictus as a way to clean up the reputation of the monarch. Now, in case you're wondering, why would the British government want to clean up the monarch? Money. All that land. Don't forget, guys, we don't know the true extent of the monarchy's holdings in this country. And I believe that if you recall when a parliament was formed all those years ago, all those centuries ago. Agreements were made. They can't, they need the royal family to keep going. All that rubbish that William is saying, I don't believe it for a second. Why? Because he keeps on talking as if he's acting in isolation. The government is not going to allow him to do what he wants. Just like Charles can't do what he wants. There has to be, Charles has to work with the government. Billy Idol can't just wake up in the morning and say, okay, let's strip Harry of his titles. Harry, the patron of Invictus? Are you insane? Harry, the most popular royal? Have you completely lost your mind? Exactly. That's why I'm saying that please stop listening to all the derangers. Stop listening to all. The only reason why Andrew is losing his titles today is because of an arrangement between the king and the government. Don't get it twisted. Because if Andrew could have lost his titles, he would have lost it quickly. It has to go through all of this in the background because the government acts together with the monarch. The monarch is not it does not act in isolation. Otherwise, the monarch doesn't act in isolation. And these people will tell you the civil servants always say they don't like messing with the royal family because of the arrangements that have been sitting in the agreements they all have, right? But this Andrew thing was a very present threat to the monarch, and the government had to step in. We don't need the titles, but I do see why. Because I said it before, there is a lot of land here. A lot of land. But don't forget that all the people that lost their monarch, the people literally rose up. The masses rose up. The masses in the UK are not going to rise up against the monarch. The government has to work with the monarch to break the royal family. So all this nonsense that they are saying in the media is noise. Even if William came today and said, I want to abdicate, sorry, I want to end the monarchy, they would tell him, you are better off, you, William, abdicating than killing this monarchy. Hi, John. The monarchy is not going to end because William wants it to. The government won't allow him. I think don't forget when Harry came back the last time, even though his father was blocking his RAVEC assessment, the British government gave Harry Met Police security. It is not possible. I mean, I think with like what's happening with Andrew now, the press and the people started getting very irritated. It's global news. You can't keep on hiding your head in the sand with this one. Releasing statements is not going to make it go away. So to your point, I believe people pressure, yes, people pressure can be enough to make them back off from whatever it is they are doing or push them into action. Because don't forget that the monarchy exists at the pleasure of the people. If enough people today got up and said they don't want a monarchy, the monarchy is done. That's why they're always releasing all these stupid polls. The average person in the UK doesn't give a shit about monarchy. I mean, yeah, I guess they grew up with them, but like people are going through a lot in this country. If enough people, and you have to understand, right? A lot of the monarchy from history that have been forced to hand over power, people were well and truly pissed off. Well and truly pissed off enough to mobilize. And don't forget the monarchies that were killed in the past, the French monarchy, the Russian monarchy, there was some governmental interference. Why do you need the people to be angry with the monarch? Because if, for example, the parliament decides to move against the monarch, if the people are not in support, it won't, what? I can't even, I don't see it happening. Don't forget when the parliament stepped in to block MPs from talking about Andrew's list. It was on the news. People were calling in all these talk shows. They gather information. That is their way to kind of get the temperature in the country. A lot of these Channel 5 talk shows. That is their way to get the temperature in the country. And a lot of people were calling in and saying, this is egregious. What do you mean that we're not going to debate Andrew's list? I believe that there is an arrangement between the government, the press, and the crown. Always protect the head. That's why they were blaming the queen. Don't forget that they started blaming the queen for Andrew. It's always protect the head. No, we can't. We can't. Charles is still here, so let's go after a dead woman. It's the queen's fault. She's dead. The hell? People are going to have to be pissed off. That's why I'm saying that I want William to move against Harry. Maybe this rage that you're seeing. huh. The one thing the British monarchy does very well is they don't listen to people. They don't listen to I don't know if it's their press office. They rely too much on the men in grey suits. They rely too much on the wrong people. They're not paying attention to what people they have so removed themselves from listening to the people on the ground. That's why I say the royal rota can be dangerous, because the royal rota also have a part to play here. Their part is to keep, in my opinion, keep the monarch as far away from the people as possible, because they are still. Do you guys remember when people used to hero worship celebrities? Like when motion pictures properly started, because I watch a lot of history, and they used to hero worship actresses, actors. That much power celebrity has over us. Celebrity has significantly changed, as we all know, thanks to social media. Thanks to social media, your celebrity now is that influencer on TikTok, that content creator on Twitch, that content creator on Kick, on YouTube. Is somebody who maybe has ring lights, little minimal makeup, a nice sweater, and is talking to you, and you enjoy the way they talk. That is our celebrity for today. Celebrities that you can humanize, not datify. But because the British royal family are still trying to place themselves above people as gods, it's not working. You notice that's probably why Meghan was such a breath of fresh air, because she didn't feel like some aristocrat. She was a working class chick who became an actress. And even as an actress, let's be 100, she wasn't like some major A-lister. She was just a random cable TV actress. She felt accessible. Does that make sense? And you felt her warmth. Because because she didn't grow up with all the pomp and circumstance. She wasn't trained to pander to you. Everything she did, her hugging, her holding hands, her way of being warm to people was very human. We could relate to it. We can relate to it. But that's why when William or Charles or Kate try to do their own thing, it's weird because it doesn't come naturally to them. When Kate is now hugging people, because Meghan was doing it. Charles William is not touching black people because Meghan is doing it. They weren't doing it before. And they are not doing it genuinely. That's why it doesn't translate. And they are repeating the same mistakes again with George and the other kids. That feeling of superiority and sitting above people in a world where relatability is very valued is why the British monarchy is not going to survive. And this deification, we see it with how they've handled Andrew. Most people, like I said it before, I'll say it again, who have a fifth of allegations that Andrew has received will be sitting in a prison, will be sitting in at the Met right now, if not in prison. But Andrew gets to live a life of lap and luxury. This stripping of his title doesn't do jack. I don't feel anything by it because I see it for what it is, damage control. I'm just hoping that the British people don't fall for it. The press is going to use this as the reason to pull the plug on all the coverage now. And they'll go back to bashing Harry and Meghan. But we, content creators, if nothing else, we can use our platform to keep the news in the media. The Republic said they are going to use a private law firm to sue Andrew. I hope so. I'll report it if it happens. But yeah, I want everybody to remember, please keep it in your heart. If you haven't read Virginia's book, I really recommend you go read that book. Please. That woman, for what she went through, the least you can do is read her book. Listen to her words. And this is for the royalists too, because I'm not a royalist. I'm not impressed by these people. But I believe that she told her story so that we, as a people, can look inward and talk about how we protect victims of sexual violence. We shouldn't forget her sacrifice. But she sacrificed everything. I said it before. Her kids are having to grow up without their mother. The least we can do is ensure that to some extent she gets justice. Andrew not being able to live in his in his expensive property is not justice. It's avoidance. It's not right. Because I'm sure everybody in their personal life knows one or two victims of sexual violence. I champion this cause because I know a young girl who was sexually assaulted, and I carry her pain with me. So that's why these things really stay with me. And the same thing Andrew did to his victims happened to this girl I knew. First, she was not believed. Then they tried to discredit her. When you're a victim of something like this, and somebody is saying that you're lying, it's terrible. It's the worst feeling in the world. To me, how it was explained to me is sorry guys, I'm going dark for a bit. What she explained to me was it felt like being violated again and again. When a victim of violence tells you tells you they've been violated and you don't believe them, you are re-victimizing them again. What was Virginia's crime? Being a pretty girl. I'm sure if we sorry guys, I'm putting up the light for 5 seconds, bear with me. I'm still here. I'm just moving around. Virginia's crime was being pretty and being attractive to her disgusting father and his friend and the man that pimped her out and Epstein and the man that raped her. That was Virginia's crime. Yeah, it's a tough book to listen to. That's why I said I had to take a break. Sorry guys, let me just put on the light. 1 sec. Sorry, I had to put off the light since I moved upstairs. Yeah. Hey Lorna, hi Avatar. Thank you for staying with me. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with this case and why it's so personal for me. I speak up for the girls, for the poor girls. If Virginia Giuffre was an aristocrat's daughter, I think this whole story would have gone a different way. But because these are poor girls, abused girls, victims, girls who can't speak English, who can't defend themselves, who can't protect themselves, it's not right. And I'm hoping that people, get motivated. Don't keep quiet. Talk to your MPs. Write to your MPs if you're in the UK. Talk about it on your platforms as well. Spread the word, spread the news, spread the book. For Virginia, for victims of sexual assault. And for people that are tired of men in suits just taking power and doing what they like. Yeah. It was quite a big news. That's why I wanted to have a live. Let's all get together and let's look at this situation for what it is, and let's not forget. I don't know if what I don't know what will come out of it. I don't know if we'll still see Andrew. I know everybody is concerned about his mental health. No, but and I will say this for his mental health. I personally don't know how he can live with himself, frankly. For his own mental health, I would tell him go and give an accounting of the things you did. Reconcile with your soul, Andrew, before you pass on. If you know something, go and tell. Oh, don't even get me started. Go and tell the US government anything that will bring them closer to getting justice for those girls. It's not about you anymore. You've lived your life, you've made your money, you're still protected. You most likely will never go to jail. Do it for the girls that you assaulted and give them some sort of peace. But he most likely wouldn't do it anyway, so. I'm curious to see how I haven't been looking at because I've been on this line. I'm curious to see how William will make this about him. When I was reading the article, I saw Andrew should write a book. I think they were saying it. They were trying to insult Harry. They were saying that Charles and Andrew are making an agreement so that he will not write a book. And let's be clear, the reason why Charles doesn't want him to write a book is because the same thing Andrew was doing, Charles was doing it too, being bribed by foreign governments. We've not forgotten the cash in suitcase, cash in carrier bag scandal, Charles. Andrew knows a lot, and that thing Andrew was doing, if Andrew was doing it, Charles was doing it. Come on now. They were all doing it together, criminals, all of them. That's the only reason why he probably moved him to Sandringham. He doesn't want him too far away. To be fair, and also if someone like Andrew, because of his greed, I personally don't believe he's that broke, but he might very be that bad. But I think what he might have is cash in trusts that he probably doesn't want to access because of the paper trail. I think that entire family is corrupt. They are that corrupt. I believe that they are that corrupt. Yes. House of York, Windsor, corrupt, all of them. I think the reason, and it's part of the reason why the British take money from taxpayers, because they have tons of cash in offshore accounts, trusts all over the world. And they don't want to touch it. Because if they touch it, there's an audit trail. So they will keep living at our tax-paying pleasure. That's why when they go on vacations, they go on private yachts from sheiks. Yeah, exactly, Lorna. Why do you think they all go on vacation? When you see William going on vacation, from what I heard, him and his wife went on vacation south of France on the yacht of a Dubai king or lord prince or something. These royals do favors for each other. They don't want to move money around, so they will take. Oh, I'm going to be the future king. If you let me, so they offer them gifts. Come on holiday with us. Obviously, these gifts are not out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they want favors. They want access. Come and stay on our yacht. Then when they finally ascend the throne, you know that time you stayed on my yacht, I'm your best personal friend. I've given you cash to fund your lifestyle. So I want to buy this property. I want access to your public sector. I want access to your power sector. This is how they trade favors. And they'll get them. Because all the king has to do is let the prime minister know that we need to get this guy. But Avatar, the reason why they sued, don't forget the reason why they sued. It's not because of privacy. They sued, well, yeah, it's for privacy. They sued because it's hard to keep on pushing Kate has cancer when you're seeing Kate on skis, sorry. It's hard to push their working when they've gone on their 5th or 6th vacation. They sued the French paper because they were embarrassed. And it's a warning to other tabloids that when you see us taking our 14th vacation, you need to shut the fuck up, otherwise we will sue you. It has nothing to do with privacy. Privacy, please. It was a warning, a threat. That's why they made them also acknowledge the wrongdoing. It's a warning to other tabloids that don't try this again. It's a game they play. It's a game you play when you have something to hide. Because why are you suing them for releasing your holiday pictures? It's really not that serious. but you sue them when they are releasing your holiday pictures when you're not supposed to be on holiday, when you can't justify your holiday, when you're embarrassed because those pictures came out. Because now, going forward, people are going to use those pictures. Whenever Kate says, "Oh, I'm recovering from my on again, off again cancer," they were like, "But Kate, were you not skiing? How can you?" Anybody who's ever been on skis and knows how heavy those are, that is not something somebody does if they are that sick. That is pure. Your entire body is being used to ski. That is pure. That is a pure workout. So that skinny woman can do a pure workout, but she can't go and attend the simplest engagements. And did you guys notice that William was not skiing? He was drinking. He appeared to have been drinking quite heavily, actually. They were embarrassed. That's why the privacy thing came out. It's a warning to other tabloids that don't try it again. But I know, but you know, but the beast that you've created is the beast that will eat you. I'm very sure the next time they go on vacation, the tabloids will be there. And yeah, and see how they're getting praised in the media for suing the tabloids. But if it was Harry and Meghan now, they will be going on TV to insult Meghan. When Meghan won her Daily Mirror case, they were all throwing tantrums and trying to make her sound like a crazy person. But she won. Yeah. I just wanted us to get on live, guys. It's been a long day. I'm tired. And talk about the utter ridiculousness that a man with credible evidence of sexual assault against underage trafficked children is able to avoid giving a testimony, able to avoid testifying on that oath, able to avoid taking accountability for his criminality, all because he happened to be born to into the British royal family. Anyway, it's been nice catching up with everyone. Thank you for joining me. Let's see how the story evolves. I will continue platforming the victims because they deserve that grace. Thank you. And I want to encourage everybody, as heavy as it is, please read Virginia Giuffre's book so that you can feel as angry as I feel. And I feel like victims always get, people always try to discredit victims to hide their criminality. Let's not forget her memory for the sake of our children. Maybe one day she will get justice. I know. Advertise okay if you can't. And for those of you who can't, I understand. Those of you that want to, please be warned about the sexual violence. There's a lot of it in the book. Because it's a frank account of what she's been through. She doesn't hold any punches. But yeah, keep the victims of child sexual of all forms of sexual abuse in your mind. To me, it's the worst thing you can do to any human being because the crime scene is your body. A lot of people that are sexually abused or have sexual violence kill themselves. So for their sake, take care, guys. Have a good one.